Hello again, everybody. It's Mr. Scott, your favorite middle-aged metalhead, here with another episode of the series where we celebrate metal albums that turned 40 years old in the year 2024. Yes, the middle-aged metalhead is here to welcome these albums into the middle ages of their life. And today, as you can see right here, we're talking about Canadian metal legends Exciter and their album Violence and Force. We'll be talking about the album, the songs, the band, and we'll be enjoying checking out the title track from the album, Violence and Force, right here too. I'll be taking breaks in between the song to give you the information and talk about the songs and all that stuff too. And by the way, I have checked over the perimeter of the property. No gatekeepers, no people like that are going to be interfering with this video. I guarantee it. So, with all that being said, let's get to the violence and let's get to the force. Thrill me. Oh, it's so good. That high screech. Is this song killer or what? I mean, come on. It's just amazing. It's quintessential Exciter. It's quintessential like early 80s speed metal. It's just fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about the album, Violence and Force. It's the follow-up album to the band's debut, which came out in 1983, called Heavy Metal Maniac. This album was recorded in November of 83 at Pyramid Studios in Ithaca, New York. And I'm a native New Yorker myself, and I know Ithaca very well. The album was released in February of 1984 on Megaforce Records. Now, Exciter is a trio of musicians, but what's always stood out about this group is that the vocals you're hearing is not coming from the guitar player or the bass player. No. They're coming from the guy behind the drum kit, Dan Beeler, the man himself, drumming and singing at the same time, and it's been going that way for decades with this group. And this album is packed with the raw power and aggression that showcases the band's signature sound of the pounding drums, the screeching guitars, those high screeching vocals too, and everything in between. I mean, it's just phenomenal, fantastic stuff. Back into it. I dare you not to headbang to this song. Come on, sing along. The lyrics are right here. Sing along. Oh yeah, you can lead, bro. pause there. About to go into the final round of verses and choruses there. So let's take this time to talk about the songs on the album. Technically there's 10 songs on the album, but the first track is simply called Oblivion, but it's not a song per se. It's essentially 25 seconds of feedback and noise. So it's just there to kind of let you know what you're in for with the entire album. So it's there nonetheless. But this song right here, Violence and Force, technically it's the second track, but it's really the opener. And this gets you headbanging within seconds. I challenge you not to headbang to this song if you can. Driving drums, high screeching vocals. That chorus is hooky and memorable. It's a great opener for the album. The next track is called Scream in the Night, and it continues the onslaught of aggression that you're going to get throughout this entire album. The fourth track, Pounding Metal, is the title. I loved the simplicity of metal songs from that time period. It was just so simplistic. It's metal, it's pounding metal. Done. That sells. The opening riff, very catchy, and honestly, if you listen to the song Pounding Metal, it's going to remind you, at least it did for me, of Kiss when you hear the riff. But once the vocals kick in, you'll remember you're listening to Exciter. And as I did mention, Exciter is a Canadian metal band. They're very often referred to as like one of the founding fathers of Canadian metal, along with great bands like Voivod and St. Vitus, and of course other thrash bands like Razor and bands of that nature, Sacrifice and so forth. But and don't forget Anvil. We've got to show respect to Anvil. So when you're talking Canadian metal, Exciter's always in there. The next song, actually, this was kind of weird for me to find out. The next song, technically, on the album is called Evil Sinner. This was on the original release of the album, but I found out that when the album was re-released, this song, for some reason, was taken off the album, apparently. I don't know why. I couldn't really find any explanation for that. So if you happen to know out there, let me know in the comments. But bottom line, if you're a lover of Merciful Fate, which I am, you're going to love this song, Evil Sinner. It will put you right into that mindset. It could have been something that they could have done. Its harmonic-centric opening riff is fantastic, and just overall great. Has that Merciful Fate feel to it, but it's Exciter nonetheless. Then we go to Destructor. We're back to the speed to start this one off, and an unrelenting tempo with that one. Then there's Swords of Darkness. A great aspect of this album, too, is that you can sing along. There are places where you can sing along to it. It's not just about shouting. There's melody in there, along with aggression, all combined. And this one has a fantastic bridge section that breaks down to a place for all the musicians to riff off of. The main rhythm guitar. The main rhythm guitar does the riff there, and guitar, bass, drum, all get a chance to kind of showcase what they can do. And the drums are the lead to get the shine and the lead get the shine in that song. Then we have Delivering to the Master. This slows everything down with some acoustic guitar. How about that on a metal album, huh? In 1984. Makes you think. So not so much on the speed with this one, but more groove-orientated. It's a slower track overall, but it does pick up near the end and does not skimp on the power at all. Then we have Saxons on the Fire, continues the speed, aggression, and overall thrash attitude of the band. And we round out the album with technically the longest track called War is Hell. And by longest track, it's just over 6 minutes long. So it starts out kind of slow, but it does a great job of ending the album, still promoting that Exciter sound that they will become known for. So let's finish up Violence and Force. Mind-ripping metal. Love that. Hell yeah! How awesome is that song? How awesome is that album? How awesome is Exciter? Bottom line, Exciter satisfies all heavy metal tastes, from punk to new wave of British heavy metal to thrash to speed metal and everything in between. This band feeds that need. Decades later, Violence and Force continues to be hailed as a classic in the thrash metal genre. Its unbridled energy and unrelenting power continues to captivate listeners to this very day. Its influence can be heard in the music of countless thrash acts who followed in Exciter's path, carrying on the torch of speed and power. And they're still going to this day. They're still touring to this very day. Big shout out to my man, Daniel DK. If you get a chance to hang out with Daniel DK on his Twitch channel, please do that. He's an awesome young man. I've had the opportunity to chat with him and interview him in the past. He's a buddy. He's a metalhead through and through, fantastic guitar player, and just a cool overall dude. So he's out there ripping ass with Exciter, doing fantastic work with them out on the road right now. So big shout out to Daniel DK and the entire crew involved with Exciter. So there you have it, Violence and Force. Are you a fan of this album? Are you a fan of Exciter? If you are, let me know some of your favorite tracks down there in the comments. And hey, come here. Coming up in October, there's going to be an album turning 40 that I think is very appropriate to be talking about in the Halloween month of October. Because we're not going to break the oath. You get me? You get me. Oh, yeah. That's what we're talking about in October. But this is the latest episode of this series. All of these are on the playlist here on my channel, so please check those out if you would not mind. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that cool stuff. Check out all the information about me down in the description. I thank you very much for stopping by. Keep those horns high. And just like Exciter have done for decades, never stop playing.
It's Mr. Scott. Yo, it's Mr. Scott. You know his ass is hot. Yo, it's Mr. Scott. It's Mr. Scott. Yo, it's Mr. Scott. You know his ass is hot. Yo, it's Mr. Scott.
It's Mr.
Scott. Let him hang.